before we dig into the deeper part of this, do any of the three of you have any ideas why people don't do the assignments that are given to them?
They haven't internalized the outcome, if they did.
Okay.
Maybe they don't care.
Okay. Paul?
Going with your, they're stupid, lazy, undisciplined, etc.
I don't know why that makes me laugh. I just love hearing the truth. It's like, oh my gracious, that's so awesome. I love the truth. Tom, why are people so delusional?
I don't know that I have a clear answer for that, other than they don't have direction as to really what it is they're trying to accomplish. Therefore, they kind of just wander around bumping into walls.
That helps me to understand a lot. So, Beth, who owns a fourth-generation printing company in Wisconsin, she emailed a group of people in EC2. So EC2, by the way, if you're not part of EC2, get part of EC2. It's $20 a month, for crying out loud. You know, what is it? Don't eat 2 Starbucks or something like that. Don't drink 2 Starbucks a month, and you'll pay for it. Like $20 a month. And don't underestimate on the impact that will give to you. So anyways, she's part of that. She's part of Action Vision. She's part of Mastermind Seminar. She's part of a lot of different things. And she emailed a group of people, handful of people today, and she said, you know, Mark is so free in sharing his life vision. Like, he shares it with everybody. And she said, I've never shared it with anybody except for Mark and Elise. And I think I'm afraid of doing it. And it never even crossed my mind that people would be afraid of sharing their life vision. Why? I don't know, because I've been sharing it since I was 8 years old. And so it's like, so the life vision is really key. Discovering your life vision, discovering my life vision, and then living that life vision every single day. That's really what life is about. Let's dig in. We've got a lot to cover in a short period of time. You guys can go ahead and interrupt anytime you want. Real quickly, Power of Boss, 3 DNAs. Pretty simple, easy peasy. You get overwhelmed, and you say, I'm overwhelmed. Like, sometimes I think people say they're overwhelmed. Like my grandson yesterday, Daniel, he's a double expressive personality, DNA for people. Man, am I glad that I understand DNA for people. Double expressive personality. Like, he got paid 2 quarters for working and picking up the leaves for Grandma, and his younger brother, who's 5, got paid 7 quarters. Daniel said, because he had to come in and he had to get gloves, and then he had to go ahead and wander around, and then he didn't understand. I mean, his brother understood what the direction was, but he didn't understand. So I think sometimes people get like Daniel was, I'm confused, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know, Grandpa, what to do, and a bunch of drama. And it's like, huh. So again, if you're confused any part of the course, just go back to this. It's the 3 DNAs. It's not complicated. Maybe you're making a lot of drama. Maybe you're saying, I'm so confused because you don't want to grow. You don't want to unleash your potential. Well, that makes no sense. Why would somebody not want to unleash their potential? Well, Jonathan McKee, he worked for us a number of years ago. He was in his probably late 30s, super smart guy, but he acted dumb. So I asked his ex-wife, you know, like when you were married to Jonathan, like it's weird. It's like he acts dumb. And she laughed and she said, yeah, I asked him about that. Like, Jonathan, you're so smart. Why do you act dumb? And he laughed and he said, so people don't expect so much of me. I mean, my heart goes out to people like that. I'm like, really? Like, wow, that's got to be a miserable existence to, like, whoa, that's not going to work out. I mean, it's one way to think about it. It's just not going to work out well. 17 seconds to quantum thinking, the DNA for people. So we went through life-gps.org. participate in the Psychology of People free webinars that are sponsored throughout the year by Life Masteries Institute and other organizations. I'm telling you, it's 30 minutes, and then invite everybody. There's no cost. They're free. Like, invite everybody to participate. Paul's actually going to be one of the presenters on one that's coming up soon, so definitely do that. We went through that. The One System for Everything, the 530 Grid, DNA for Business. So that's that's going to be the 530 Grid. And so we've got 5 areas, 6 levels. Pretty simple, right? Well, maybe not so much. There's 6 levels or 6 dimensions. Okay, that gets a little bit more complicated. Well, once you get that mastered, then let's take a look and drill down into box 2. See what's underneath, that layer there. Oh, okay. Huh. Like, Okay, and that's why there's a course that took 49 weeks to teach, a 7-week course. It's called Sticky Messages. And so, these things can take decades to figure out how to drill down in and simplify it. And so it goes deeper. Well, and what's that course based on? Well, it's based on develop and deliver a message. And then all of a sudden, that's drilled down deeper based on the book Made to Stick by Dan and Chip Heath, I think it is. So your message needs to be simple, unexpected, concrete, credible, emotional stories, and then the course is what's the next step. And if we wanted to, we could drill down deeper into simple too. So this is the thing that's weird. Do any of you know why people make things simple that are complex and why people make things that are complex simple? It makes no sense to me. Anyone have any ideas why people do that?
I would say that the more intelligent people take the complex and make it simple, because most likely everything is fairly simple if you think the process through.
Yeah, but why are people... But I don't understand why people make things like they want something... Like, there's really complex things in life, like quantum physics. Like, okay, like how do you go ahead and, like all the technology, how do you go ahead and have more firepower, more computing power in your hand now in a smartphone than it took to land somebody on the moon? Like, I don't know. And so people harm themselves a lot by making things that are complex simple, and they harm themselves a lot by making things that are simple that are complex, and complex that are simple. Maybe I'm not explaining it well. Anybody else have ideas?
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the giraffe test?
No.
I'll send you the link. It's pretty fascinating, but what it is, it's a quiz developed by Anderson Consulting, and they would ask really simple questions, and it actually goes to the root of making simple things complicated. And what they found out is young kids, 4, 5, 6-year-olds, almost got 100% of the quiz because they didn't learn to try to make anything complicated. They knew what they knew, and they just went with it. And it seemed like the older you got, the more it was drilled into you that there's got to be a level of complexity. Nothing can be that simple. Not sure I'm answering your question perfectly, but it was a really interesting study that children are way freer in their creativity and their minds. They haven't learned that bad behavior yet.
Will you send that to me also?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So this is where I think you did answer my question. kind of, sort of. Obviously, you don't want a child, driving a car or flying a plane. And so the thing that puzzles me, like with Daniel, my grandson, like, why does he make picking up leaves so complex and so drama-filled? Like, that's not going to serve him well, in life. But he and I have so much fun together, it's insane. Like, he's starting his own company. He's the one that inspired much of this lesson, so his creativity. I mean, if he was my son, I might have, like, I had a son like that, actually. And he and I have a great relationship now, but boy, was it hard raising that kid. Man, like, wow, it was really, really tough. Anyways, we'll keep going. Like, the more we know about something, the more we know we don't know about it. Then we learned about, natural laws. And then, today we're learning about dimensional thinking. And so when we look at and combine all of these pieces together, have we internalized every lesson? Well, we have to some level, but have we, like, has it changed our life vision? Or has it, let's say, enhanced our life vision? Is our life vision bigger than life? Like, do we see how we can impact more people with actually less work? Do we see how we can leave a legacy? We need to have community to be able to do that. So Nicole and Tom and Paul and I, like, there's a community coming together. Like, it's like, okay, we need to be in community. We need to wrestle with these things because these things, they are complex. They are not simple. And so we need to have an awakening. We need to have ownership. We need to have work. We need to have care. And that leads into the dimensional thinking. And then next lesson is going to be on building quantum systems. Like, if we don't understand dimensional thinking, that the more we know we don't know, that's the human experience, well, then we're not going to be able to build quantum systems. So let's drill more into this. So, for example, where did I learn this? So when I'm struggling with raising my 7 children, I often found the answers in business. So I'm struggling now. Okay, I have I'm a grandfather, I have 5 grandkids, and I know so much more now than I did, 30 years ago when I started having kids. But I know how much, it's like I am so clueless in so many different areas. And so this was actually discovered, the next dimension principle about coaching and coaching different people. And so you have the cheerleader coach, you have the teacher coach, you have the coach, and then you have the Navy SEALs or drill instructor. And so when we're developing people, we need to understand. So I'm best at the level 4 because I'm a driver, and my secondary is going to be a level 2, which is a teacher. I struggle in level 1 and struggle in level 3. Tom is really, really good in level 3. Nicole is really good in level 2 and level 1. Paul, he's got a ton of level 3. That's where he's strongest. But he's also got very strong in one of the tests in the level 4, and he's also got a level 3. So he's going to be chameleon-ish type of thing. So understanding these things and understanding how it comes to development of everyone. And so yeah.
So once you get to a Navy SEAL drill instructor, the level 4.
Yep.
Does the next dimension just automatically come, or is there something that you have to trigger to get to the next dimension?
It seems like it comes. It just is there. See, Navy SEAL drill instructor is not like I used to think about it. My brother, he's in the Marines for 22 years, and he said that he talked to, and Tom, you were in, special ops in the Army, And you said those Navy SEAL guys, man, they're a different breed.
They are. Yep.
They're just, and so my brother said that one of the drill instructors for Navy SEALs, he was talking to me, he says it's actually easier to lead special ops than it is enlisted people.
I would agree with that.
And so here, you don't go into level 4, Tom, unless you want something more in life or business or marriage or something. If you don't want more, you won't enter into level 4, because level 4 is a painful, like who would submit themselves to that kind of abuse? So people have said to me, Tom, I think you've been there a couple of times, and people have said to me, they're like, Mark, I hate being around you. You know, you make me feel so stupid. Well, I used to kind of like, oh, okay, I don't want to do that. That's not my heart. I care about people. I don't want to make people feel. So I just shut myself down and say, okay, I'm not going to say stuff. But now I just smile at them and I just say, huh, that's interesting. Hey, I want to apologize for that. Actually, the truth is you can't make anybody feel stupid. All you can do is reveal it. Then I smile, and then I walk away, and it takes about 13 seconds for it to sink in. Wait a minute. Like, what was he saying? And so I also say to people like my wife and my 7 kids, my 3 sons-in-laws, my daughter-in-laws, now my 5 grandkids, I love being around them. But you know, if people say, I hate being around you, I'd say, yeah, just imagine if you were me. Like, there's no escaping me. Like, it's 24/7. Like it's always this way. So when we look at dimensional thinking, you know, obviously when we look at the diagrams to the right, we can clearly see that there's a lot of information, models for thinking, deep insights for people, business, and life, which someone else has invested a lifetime into figuring out. Like this stuff, you can't Google it. You can't find it anywhere. You can't find it in a book. You can't find it in a degree. You can't find it on the internet. The simple to complex to simple principle, this thing's amazing. It's absolutely crazy. Nicole, I know you got to run here. Anything you have before you take off?
Yeah, I'm wondering, when you're talking about the next dimension principle and developing people based on the 4 levels, I mean, what level is best for, you know, a company that's starting to change their culture and starting to develop it? You know, do you want someone that's a level 1, 2? Do you want someone that's a level 2, 3? You know, what fits that?
Well, that's a complex question because you're asking, you know, maybe what's easiest to do. And you're asking, well, what's most profitable because a company's got to make profit, right? And, well, what are you looking at? What's best in the short term or long term? Because often what's best in the short term is not what's best in the long term, and what's best in the long term is not what's best in the short term. So what you ask is you're in the quantum world, Nicole, and you're asking a really complex question. Did you know that?
Yeah.
So now do you have your answer?
It depends.
It could be it depends, yes. Yeah, any of those. Yeah, it depends. It's yes. It's people. Like every one of them, you know, are going to be different, and every one of them are going to be at different levels, and then you have different aspects of different aspects of intelligence. So I was doing some work on caring, and I'm telling you, it's insane. And so there, you know, came up with 8 different, you know, intelligences. You know, so people are intelligent. Like the first one people think of is often going to be, you know, educational. Well, I'm not very intelligent there. Like I have low intelligence in, you know, in education. Just struggled in school. I just had a hard time with it. But there's other types of intelligences as well. Other questions, Nicole?
What are the other types of intelligence?
I was afraid you were going to ask that. I don't have it memorized yet. I just discovered, oh, here it is. So there's academic intelligence. And I'm not saying these are an exhaustive list. It's just what I came up with. It's relational intelligence. So academic intelligence, relational intelligence, financial intelligence, social intelligence, spiritual intelligence, emotional intelligence, and career intelligence.
That's a lot.
It is. Like, yeah, it is. It's like, oh my gracious, like, I'm going to have to live to be 150 to figure this stuff out. You know, we have just given a brief overview of the next dimension principle. You know, what about how to help people not make things simple, which are complex, and not to make, you know, things complex, which are simple? What is a fractal? Do any of you know what a fractal is?
No.
This is like the coolest thing, isn't it? So in a journal, in one of the journal entries, this is dimensions here, and so you have multiple dimensions, multiple layers, multiple levels. It's like crazy. And it's a fractal, and I was at a coffee connection. I'd participate in those if I were you guys too. And so I talked to a guy, Greg Whittick, and he's like, he saw that, and he says, oh, Mark, you created a fractal. I'm like, what's a fractal? So it's a pattern, like a snowflake is a fractal. So in nature, you see a whole bunch of fractals, and it's like, so there's patterns. And when you see the patterns, you can leverage it, which gives quantum computing. What is a dimensional gap? What holds us back and moves us forward? And you guys can, again, just interrupt me. We're just going to go ahead and, well, why don't we go into the Q&A here? We'll take a media break here, 5-second media break. Here we go.